Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pixel and welcome to the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel. Now, since there has been a bunch of game releases since we launched our Sapphire Nitro Plus and Pulse branded RX 6700 XT graphics cards, I thought that now would be a good time to take a look at 18 games running at 1440p on our Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6700 XT, so let's get right to it.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to come in.
To start off, I want to take a look at Guardians of the Galaxy running at its ultra quality preset. During my 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, I was able to easily hold above 60 frames per second with our averages hovering mostly between around 70 and 90 in most open sections and as high as 120 when in more enclosed spaces. Since this game runs on the same engine as Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I have to admit that I was quite surprised at the fairly decent performance. Visually, I think the game looks great, and having skipped this one at launch, I'm glad that I finally got around to trying it out. The game itself is so much better than what I was expecting, and I definitely recommend that you give it a try given the chance. It's currently available on Xbox Games Pass for PC, for those of you that are interested.
Maria and her mother Hovat were two of the strongest people who ever lived.
With a name like Hellbender, Gamora's probably right. It's gotta be something scary.
Nightmarish. A proper apex predator.
Snarling and nasty. More teeth than all of us combined. Bat-like wings with razor tips. Whoa!
We're running! Well, you got some timing. We got company.
Is this from the last bumper?
We have it.
They're food for our quarry and will not be far behind.
Let's just focus on not becoming food ourselves! You're right! This isn't working! It's like we woke up...
Focus on flying, Peter.
Someone play this man a song.
Now we're talking!
Watch the ship.
I'm watching! You ain't! Drax, what are you doing?
I am holding my buttocks as Peter Quill instructed.
Someone give me a hand. Am I right?
How about one upside the head?
That's not gonna be an option soon!
This position is untenable.
Drax incoming! Watch out! Hang on!
Have you perished, Peter Quill?
Too much debris! I'm taking her out of here!
Whilst Cyberpunk 2077 did release prior to this graphics card, it has recently seen some updates, and one of which included an in-game benchmark, so I thought it would most certainly make sense taking a second look. I ran the game at what I consider to be fairly optimized settings in terms of the balance between visuals and performance. Basically, it's the ultra quality preset with a volumetric fog set to high, volumetric cloud set to medium, screen space reflection set to high, and color precision set to medium. During moment-to-moment gameplay, these settings look very similar to the ultra quality preset, but they are able to boost performance by around 25%, which in my opinion is a pretty good deal.
De las apariencias no te engañan. La policía de Night City recomienda evitar a los enemigos que se hacen pasar por veteranos.
Hello there, Night City! Stanley here with you, and we got another day ahead of us in this city of dreams. Ooh, I love this town. Love it like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for her. Every new day here means 100 new arrivals, but only half these garbage Alyx will survive a year, and that's if it's a good one. And why do these peeps come to NC? Well, to be street samurai like Morgan, Blackhand, and Waylon Boa Boa. The greater the risk, the bigger the bounty, kids. Or so they say. But you can only be a major league player for so long. The faster you live, the faster you burn out. If you don't get a bullet to the brain first. AC's legends. Know where you'll find most of them? The graveyard. Matters not where you're from. Matters not where you start. What matters here is the walk you walk. In Night City. The city of dreams.
Since Forza Horizon 5 has one of the best in-game benchmarks in the industry, we're just going to stick with that for this section. Here I ran the game using the extreme quality preset and we saw an average frame rate of around 90. Despite the heavy amount of criticism that most Call of Duty campaigns get, there is no denying that they are some of the most cinematic first-person shooters released on a yearly schedule. Whilst Call of Duty Vanguard doesn't really stand out visually, it has to be said that it's one of the most impressive entries in the franchise when it comes to optimizations. With the game maxed out, we saw an average frame rate of around 90, lows of 75 and highs around the 120 mark.
Eyes up, people. Long way to go. Better than loading trucks, that's for damn sure.
Медсестра Петрова, we'll need you down by the first stand. Plenty of men that need catching up today. Go ahead, join the others. Oh God!
Capcom's RE engine is an extremely impressive bit of kit. It's not the greatest looking engine in terms of its feature set, but that balance between presentation, performance and stability is right up there with the likes of Doom Eternal. Resident Evil Village is no exception. When set to its maximum preset, which does have ray tracing disabled, we're looking at ridiculously high frame rates with an average well above 120 FPS. Sure, it can be a little bit lower at times, but I think the lowest that I saw was somewhere around 90 FPS, but those occasions were rare.
Mother, I bring you fresh prey.
You are so kind to me, daughters. Now, let's take a look at him. Well, Ethan Winters. You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you? Let's see how special you are.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, Mother.
I can't believe Cassandra caused all this mess. Which tools do you prefer? I need blood. Warm, wet, bright. Where are you going, little one? Bullets cannot harm. You stupid man thing!
SIFU isn't exactly graphically demanding, but since it was a fairly popular release, I thought it would make sense to include in this video. With the graphical settings maxed out, we spent most of our time above 200 frames per second, but with that said, performance isn't perfect as the game does suffer from some fairly heavy stuttering when transitioning from one section of a level to another. There's also a little asset compilation stutter from time to time, but thankfully, due to the simplistic art style, it never really became too bothersome.
Open up! Don't make me bust this dick. Check this fucking clown out. Help you with something?
Leave these people alone.
Oh, we got ourselves a real-life white knight here. Let's relieve her. Whoa!
When it comes to VR, demonstrating performance can be quite difficult. This is mainly due to each headset having a different resolution, the fact that you want to maintain a very specific frame rate at all times, and how actually displaying the gameplay and performance on the desktop often has its own performance cost. However, I'm pleased to be able to say that Half-Life Alyx did manage to run at 100% resolution on the Valve Index whilst maxed out at a 120Hz refresh rate, despite running a separate 1440p spectator window in order to capture this footage.
Whoa, wait, I just live here!
Probable anti-citizen. Keep those hands off!
Wait, don't shoot!
Area security there. Give us names. We didn't steal anything. You didn't care. What did you see? No one! I didn't see anyone! Get it out and take it to the transport.
Dad! Hey, wait, no!
Oh, wait! I almost forgot! Alyx, up here! You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now! Oh, almost forgot! Guns need ammo! Here you go! Right, heading back to the common room!
If you've been around this channel for any length of time, then you have likely heard me talking about my expectations / targets for performance. You'll know that I'm all about this 60 FPS minimum with an ideal target somewhere between 90 and 120 FPS when talking about single player games. However, this is going to be one of the very few times that I'm going to make an exception. You see, the Quarry features some truly stunning visuals and that comes at a cost. Whilst maxed out at 1440p, our 6700 XT is able to pump out an average somewhere between 40 and 80 frames per second. However, on a variable refresh rate monitor the game still runs very smoothly, and it's not like the inconsistent frame rate really gets in the way of the extremely simplistic gameplay. This is a game where I think getting the best visuals should be considered the goal, provided that you are able to keep the game running consistently. That is why, if you don't have access to a variable refresh rate monitor, and you're instead playing on a fixed 60 or 120Hz display, I recommend that you simply engage VSync and enable the 30 FPS cap.
Does this look like the goddamn Harbinger Motel to you?
The Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
The who of the what's it where now? What's the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
You don't know about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
If I did, would I be asking dumbass?
Tell her about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
I don't think she wants to know about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
Can we just please stop saying the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
It's just this campfire story for the kids. It's, there's supposedly an old woman who died in a fire a few years back. She haunts the woods looking for her lost baby boy. There are like reports of whispers or whatever, and this figure that floats around, textbook ghost stuff. Some people say that if she catches you alone, she'll try to turn you into her son. The devil's gonna come when the sun goes down. The devil's gonna come when the sun goes down.
Grid Legends is a game that I ran using the ultra high presets, and at no point during my testing was performance ever a problem. I think I spent the vast majority of the time well above 100 frames per second, and even though the frame time graph does look fairly inconsistent, the game ran extremely smoothly on my variable refresh rate monitor, so all in all, nothing too exciting here, but yeah, a decent showing for Grid Legends.
Heard that right. Ado is scouting a new driver for Seneca. This could be your break. You've got nothing to lose. Give it your best shot. Try a corner with a touch of handbrake. I'd like to see you control the slide.
If my memory serves me right, Mafia might have actually released a little earlier than the 6700 XT, but since I never got around to checking it out, I thought I might as well do so now. With the settings maxed out using the high preset, performance would mostly stick between 75 and 95 frames per second. That said, I did have to play in borderless window mode, as playing in full screen would force my monitor to a 60Hz refresh rate and the game to a 60fps limit, so please do keep that in mind.
Look at this.
How you doing, kid? Dino, Lou. You got business with the Don?
Nah, we're just trying to talk to that cabbie over there, that's all.
That right?
Yeah.
Well, this here's the Don's favorite driver. So anything you gotta say to him, you can say to me.
Is that right? Well, I'll tell you something, pal, we ain't leaving empty-handed, that's for sure.
Well, then maybe you ain't leaving at all.
Okay, then. See your boys around. Let's go, Lou.
Thanks. Least we could do.
Come on, let's go say hi to the Don.
Don Salieri? Yeah. He's gonna want to hear about this.
You got some kind of death wish? Hmm? I'm gonna lay you out! Seize that! Tom, quick! There's gonna be more of them. Use a Molotov and let's see some flames. Love your work. Yeah, Morello's shoe would have heard that.
Whole block heard that.
We gotta go. We can take Dino's car.
How'd you know this is Dino's car?
I don't like you and you got a good car. I'm gonna know where you keep.
Reports of burning vehicles and gunfire in North Park. It's right near Morello's place. Don't bring in the wrong people.
Straight through the gate. We gotta get out of here before the bull show.
Don't let him get away!
Drive!
Come back, you bastards!
Stray can be a beautiful game at times, and it can also perform extremely well. However, I have to admit I was never really blown away by either aspect. Much like SIFU, Stray suffers from some heavy stuttering when streaming in new sections of the map, as well as noticeable stuttering whilst caching assets. Rarely do these issues get in the way of the gameplay, but they are noticeable and they most certainly take away some of the shine from what could have been a very relaxing experience. The settings are maxed out in this footage. Dying Light 2 is a bit of a strange beast as it straddles that gap between big budget AAA titles and more mid-tier offerings. Visually the game looks nice but also dated, performance is pretty solid but not really impressive. Where Dying Light 2 does impress however is in its relative stability. Yes, there's a bit of stutter from time to time and there's a few areas that aren't quite as optimized as others, but generally it runs fairly decently, which is a lot more than what I was expecting. Once again, the game is pretty much maxed out barring ray tracing, which I left completely disabled, and on average we was hovering around the 80 to 90 FPS mark, and the game did run well.
I told you, they were speedy motherfuckers! Hacker! Come on, Gillian! Oh, shit, there's a lot of them. Fight like the devil! Let me in! Goddamn you, Gillian! Open the fuck up! You pay for this one day! Open the fuck up! Oh, we did it. I doubt we're done. Trouble loves company. Hacker, get us in there! I'm trying. Killian, I know you're there! Oh, we're so fucked. God damn it, Gillian. Should have waited a while longer.
Almost did. Didn't want to clean your guts off my doorstep in the morning.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Elden Ring has got to have been one of the biggest releases of 2022 so far. Unfortunately though, that does not prevent it from being one of the most technically disappointing. Not only is the game capped to 60 FPS, but it also suffers from extremely poor frame pacing, which often leads to judder, and to make things even worse, the PC version has a regular large stutter, which you will get whilst travelling through the open world. The good news is that our 6700 XT has no problem maintaining that 60 FPS cap while maxed out at a 1440p resolution, meaning that this is pretty much the best experience that you're going to get on the PC at this point in time. For Psychonauts 2, I selected the very high preset and I did go back and manually set the resolution scale to 100%, since it does seem to default to something lower whilst playing at higher resolutions. The game both looked and felt great, and whilst not one of the most graphically demanding games out there, the stylization is on point and it is quite possibly one of the very best looking traditional 3D platformers ever released.
The Aquatos! Traveling thrill givers and practitioners of the acrobatic arts!
Great! Well, this is a highly restricted area. The campgrounds are over the hill. Now, if you wouldn't mind hauling that wreck off our landing pad.
What did you say?
If it's too much trouble to haul it, I could always burn it for you.
Please, excuse us. We are Rasputin's family. We've come here to support him, not get in the way. We'll move our caravan to the campgrounds.
I want to play in the jet.
Maybe your brother can give us a tour later. Whenever he's ready, he knows where to find us.
Bye, Pooter.
That was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Where are we?
Shh. It's a quiet place.
I don't like the looks of these, but I guess they're a sign that he's remembering something. I think I hear someone knocking.
I don't hear anything.
Come in?
Hey, I know you. You're Vision.
Yeah, and you're needed on stage. Come on, Psy King.
My dark place!
Psy King?
Straight off the bat, I have to be honest, Halo Infinite is the most disappointing game of all those tested in this video, and that is bearing in mind that AMD cards tend to perform substantially better than the competition in this title in particular. The performance compared to the presentation is completely off whack, with very little other than resolution having a big effect on GPU performance. To make matters worse, there's plenty of animation issues that make the game feel much less smooth than it should, including facial animations being limited to 30 frames per second, and weapon animations not always updating each and every frame. On top of that, Halo Infinite is also extremely heavy on the CPU, meaning that holding a 120 FPS average whilst in the open world is practically impossible regardless of your settings. This is a shame considering that I do believe that there's a pretty decent game underneath all of these technical issues. Unfortunately, due to the size of the game, it's very difficult to put an accurate number on our performance, but it does appear that whilst out in the open world, when set to the ultra quality preset, we seem to hover around 70 to 90 frames per second on average, where when we're in more enclosed linear levels, we seem to jump up to about 90 to 120. So it's most certainly playable, but it's certainly not ideal.
Seconds till full charge. I hope this place holds together that long. Charge faster!
Atriox is dead! It is his fault that we are stuck here. The banished will never bow to anyone again.
For Hitman 3, I really wanted to keep things nice and simple, so I've maxed out all of the in-game settings barring ray tracing, which I left disabled, and then I jumped into the benchmark, which resulted in a 145 frames per second average. I haven't included the Dartmoor benchmark simply because that is more of a CPU benchmark. I did also quickly jump into the game itself to make sure that these results were somewhat accurate, and yeah, the game looks great and performs well, so no complaints from me. Far Cry 6 is once again one of those games with a fairly decent in-game benchmark, and so I just set the game to run at its ultra quality preset, jumped in, and the benchmark showed that we would get an average frame rate just shy of 100 frames per second. I also jumped into the game proper and ran around the open world for about an hour or two. Provided that you have the CPU horsepower to keep up, I'd expect Far Cry 6 to run very well indeed on our 6700 XT graphics card. However, one thing that I did notice is that despite the 12GB of available VRAM, the optional high resolution texture pack did introduce a noticeable amount of stuttering, so I personally recommend running the game without it, especially considering that the difference in visuals is rather minimal during moment-to-moment gameplay. The most frustrating game that I tested for this video has got to have been Deathloop. Visually, the game looks fairly nice, but performance-wise, well, it's a mess when running at anything above a locked 60Hz VSync. Here, I ran the game maxed out with FSR 2.0 enabled at quality mode, and whilst we had an average frame rate well above 60 FPS, the game still didn't feel all that smooth, and it did suffer from very high input latency regardless of the settings used. Disappointing really, because I actually find the concept of this game very interesting, but I'm personally going to hold off to see if the developers can come back in and improve some of its technical shortcomings.
I see the train.
However, considering that one of the Eon program tenets is follow your fun, I was hoping...
Okay, gotta be a switch. Around here somewhere.
Hello? Hello? Answer me.
The situation is under control. Oh, this looks like it does something important. What the...
What?
Okay, so that was 18 games tested at 1440p on our Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6700 XT graphics card. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to slap that subscribe button and to ring that bell so you'll be notified of our future uploads. As demonstrated in this video, the 6700 XT is more than capable of holding a solid 60 FPS at 1440p on the vast majority of even the most demanding games. If you're interested in picking one up for yourself, be sure to keep an eye out for one that is rocking the Sapphire Nitro Plus or Sapphire Pulse branding. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you again very soon.